Welcome to I Drink Your Podcast, where we drink and talk about movies from 2007.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
I don't remember seeing this movie.
What's your power? You don't got the power.
Keeps away the narwhals.
The only way to defeat a waffle is by making it a pancake.
This is one doodle that can't be undid, Holmes Gillett.
Now back to that ass.
Were you masturbating?
I drink your podcast. I drink it up.
Welcome to another episode of I Drink Your Podcast. Joining me this week is going to be Ben.
Hi, everybody.
Emily.
Hello.
Wesley.
Hi.
And our new friend, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So today we're watching Shoot 'Em Up. And before we get started, let's talk about what's in your glass. Does anyone have anything interesting?
Dude, you guys, I have the most interesting drink today that I found myself. Corbin did not help me
Nice.
with this one. So it's a lunar eclipse. It's a carrot drink in honor of Shoot 'Em Up. Eat your vegetables, everyone. So I made fresh carrot juice, actually.
Oh.
And so it has carrot juice in it. It has some turmeric vodka that I infused myself.
Wow.
And it has honey and fresh lemon juice. And then also the kind of bitters that I can't pronounce that starts with an A.
Is it Augustana?
Yeah, something like that. And then I have a fancy celery stick for my garnish. Not a
Wow.
carrot. So
How orange did the
Oh, love that.
how orange
ASMR
did
podcast
the
now.
turmeric infused vodka turn out? That sounds pretty
very yellow.
awesome. Okay.
Let's go from doing too much to doing too little, because that's me.
Nope, that's me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
No,
Oh.
that's me. That's our Spartacus moment.
I have a screwdriver because it's orange,
Oh,
Okay.
like a carrot.
All right.
I literally have a glass of vodka with a splash of grenadine, because grenadine makes everything better. Thanks, Corbin.
That's true. That's true. I have something very similar as well. And I'm going to call my drink a Shot 'Em Up, because it's a shot of vodka, grenadine, and 7-Up, which I substituted with a different soda.
Oh my God.
So the only important part, the up, is not actually there.
Yeah.
I respect
That's
it.
right.
I don't drink, so I'm be your guys' sober cabs to get you all home at the end of the night.
Yes, that's
Perfect.
needed. Definitely going to be needed.
Right. So, Chris, what were you up to in 2007? As you know, the premise of the show is we're only watching 2007 movies. What were you up to? Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Ben.
I thought it was just lucky at this point that we had picked all those.
In 2007, I actually didn't even really remember this until you guys told me the movie I'd be part of. 2007, I had just graduated college, and my medical issues started happening for real at that point. So, yeah, this movie, my buddies actually took me to go see it the night I was discharged from the hospital after being there for like 3 months.
Wow.
Wow.
Crohn's Club.
Would you be willing to speak to your medical issues?
It was Crohn's. I ignored it, and yep, Wes knows what it is. But yeah, I ignored it and ended up getting like a silver dollar sized hole chewed through my intestine by my white blood cells. So they had to put in a bunch of tubes to try and get those to drain on their own. One of them did, the other one didn't. The hole just didn't want to repair itself. So after being in there for 3 months, they basically were like, go on, go home. We'll have you come back in another 3 months to see if anything's healed. Nothing healed, and then I ended up having to have surgery. They ended up removing like 16 feet of intestine, my gallbladder, my appendix, and the connection between my upper and lower intestine, or my large and small.
So you're saying when I asked you to be on a 2007 podcast, this is bringing up all happy memories.
Yes.
Oh my God.
All the PTSD just came back in waves. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Chris, can you speak to your viewing experience of this film being the first film?
I absolutely loved it. When I saw it in the theater with my buddies that first time, I just purely loved it right off the bat. The fact that I was just let out of the hospital after 3 months probably helped quite a bit. But even after rewatching it, after that fact, later on, many years down the road, like this morning when I rewatched it, I loved it just as much as I did that night.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun action film.
Definitely. It's like, what's this guy with the carrot all about? Anyway, let's talk about what are some of your favorite movies?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Well, I mean, you know,
We
feel
should
free
probably
to give us,
rewrite that question because every single guest does not like this question.
give us some movies that paint a picture about you.
Movies that have shaped who I am. Train Spotting, Hackers,
Love Hackers.
Seven Samurai, Pulp Fiction, and Reservoir Dogs definitely painted a picture of how I viewed movies. Taxi Driver, Creepshow, so many different horror movies. I couldn't even label them all, but Creepshow is a big one. Very wide range of movies kind of shaped what I view as a good movie nowadays. The Raid definitely was a very good one.
Yep.
So was Hardcore Henry. That one definitely was
Yep.
That was an eye-opener in the way, purely in the technologies they had to make that movie even happen.
Right.
I was actually, while rewatching this movie, I had the thought of Hardcore Henry because that's been one that's been on my list for a long time and I've still never seen it. And I was actually going to bring it up on the show. So,
for those who don't know, Hardcore Henry was shot in first person.
Yeah.
So it looks like a video game.
Thanks for letting me know, Ben, because I didn't know that.
It was not a huge movie, so you're not the only one, Emily.
Right.
Not in any way, shape, or form. Actually, side note to being sick in 2007 to go see Shoot 'Em Up, I actually went to go see Hardcore Henry in the theater after being sick for like a week and a half. I was just starting to be able to stay awake for extended periods of time, and it released, so I just said, fuck it. Went over to the theater up the road, and I was one of two people in the theater, and I loved it.
I'm worried that all your favorite movies are just because the drugs from the hospital hadn't worn off yet.
I cannot deny nor confirm the fact that the Dilaudid probably helped many things.
Right. So, big fan of action and cool cut films. I think you have a good eclectic base of movies in there, and we got a kind of a feel for what you like. We're glad to have you on for Shoot 'Em Up because this movie meant so much to you.
Thank you.
The first half of our show is going to be all about discussing and reviewing Shoot 'Em Up. The second half is going to feature our Battle of Twits, a creative competition between Ben and myself. Our current leaderboard for the Battle of Twits is the guests are leading with 5. Ben is at 3, and myself and Wes are tied at 2 points.
I've only played once.
This week, we're watching Shoot 'Em Up, which was directed by Michael Davis, featuring Clive Owen, Paul Giamatti, and Monica Bellucci. Bellucci.
There you go.
Yeah, with the hand. That's the only way to do Italian is with the
Bellucci.
hand.
Looks like you are shit out of luck, beautiful. Now I'm gonna give you your C-section.
You son of a bitch!
Eat your vegetables.
Smith, played by Clive Owen, attempts to rescue a pregnant woman in a big shootout, although after he delivers her son, gets shot, he takes the newborn to the only place he knows has a viable food source, a brothel, where prostitute Donna, played by Monica Bellucci, agrees to help him and the baby they name Oliver. Meanwhile, the assassin, Hertz, played by Paul Giamatti, works to find and track down the baby to kill it. Although Smith shoots him in the chest, Donna and Smith flee with Oliver and find out the baby is a result of a plan to save a politician's life with a bone marrow transplant.
Okay, folks, I don't want to bury the lead on this one. We all loved this movie, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to hear someone say they didn't.
Right.
Matt, you're the only one I'm worried about.
No, I mean, I think I group texted everyone. I was like, this movie is so ridiculous that it's just it's a national treasure. Mm-hmm. I'm paraphrasing myself because I don't remember what I said exactly, but it's so ridiculous from the get-go. You know, he's eating a carrot and you're like, what's this guy about? And then he stabs somebody in the eye with it. You're like, oh, that's this kind of movie.
That's a great lead in. What point in this movie did you know that you were like in for what's going on?
That moment.
The carrot?
Oh, when you see the pointy end of a carrot go through the back of a guy's skull, you're like, okay.
And then he says, eat your vegetables.
Yeah. I know exactly what I'm in for, and I could not be more excited for it.
Definitely. When he does his first one-liner, I was hooked. I was like, oh, okay. And then he does like 6 more. You're just like, this is great. This is so good. This movie knows what it is and what it's about. And it's just really great.
I was sucked in even before that.
That was only like 2 minutes in.
If you notice before that, though, he was dipping the carrot in coffee.
Yes.
To what point is that?
I don't think I caught that on a rewatch. I'm sure I've noticed it before, but
Yeah.
do you think he was flavoring the carrot or the coffee?
He's
Yes.
probably flavoring the coffee.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yes.
No, I'm glad that you saw that too, Chris, because I have seen this movie a few times before, which is shocking to all of you. I'm just assuming that because
Yes,
I don't
is.
watch movies, but this is one of the few action movies that I had seen years before. And I missed so many things the first time, second time watching it. And so watching it again was just really fun to catch all of the subtleties that aren't actually subtle. They like throw them in your face.
Yeah.
For example, when they have their big first shootout between Paul Giamatti's character and Clive Owen, when he takes Oliver with him and jumps off the building and whatnot, he's shooting and there are the neon letters that say fuck you and then fuck you too. Just
fuck you fucking fucks.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't hooked as early as it sounds like you guys were. When he started sliding on that grease, like the oil, I was like, oh, this movie may not be for me if they're going to just like spit in the face of physics like that. But then when he took out the gun to shoot the umbilical cord, that's when I was in, because I was like, okay, this movie does not give a fuck, and I'm going along for whatever they have in store.
And then the mom says, "What the fuck?" Like, even the characters in this movie knew how ridiculous it was.
I'll tell you, in my brain, I was like thinking, because he's delivering the baby and he hasn't shot the umbilical cord yet. I was like, this movie would be better if he just delivered the baby with the gun. You know, he like shot the baby out somehow.
Like a C-section with a gun?
Or I don't know. Like he was just like already doing it. And then he shot the umbilical cord and my eyebrows went up. I was like, what the actual fuck? It was like, it knew what I was thinking the entire time. So
one of the things that stood out to me really quickly, and it's probably just because I rewatched this trilogy like a week ago, but this movie so quickly stood out to me as possibly a predecessor to John Wick. Did anybody else possibly think that?
No.
Well, I definitely got a John Wick feel when the dog came around the corner and he's like, I'm not going to shoot the dog because I love dogs.
Well, let's not spoil my ending, but I guess I'll just spoil it now. At the end of the movie, John Wick, I'm going to call him John Wick. At the end of the movie, Mr. Smith leaves with a dog. And so I'm curious if this is possible that
the prequel to John Wick.
Mr. Smith is maybe John Wick's dad, aka the Papa Yaga.
He could be Dr.
Oh
Smith.
my God.
See, I was wondering if this was a prequel or sequel to Children of Men. Because it's literally just Clive Owen protecting babies.
I mean, that could be an actor's choice.
That would be a prequel.
Right.
That would be a prequel. Children of Men is way in the future.
Well, this movie actually was inspired by a movie, and it's inspired by one of John Woo's classics, Hard Boiled. Specifically, the scene where Chow Yun-fat is rescuing all of the newborn babies from all the gangsters, and the director, who's also the writer of this, Michael Davis, who I looked at, he does not have anything that like stood out to me. But he basically said, I want to do that, but a movie with guns. And then he wrote the script. And when he wrote the script and he finally finished it in 2000, it was put on the back burner because Columbine happened. And so he was like, ooh, this is probably not the best time to release this. But people didn't really know anything about him, or he had like a few connections here and there. But he put together a bunch of storyboard scenes of all the action scenes that was very reminiscent of the Looney Tunes. And finally, a producer picked it up because it just had this Looney Tune feel to it.
That's really funny that you bring that up. A couple of the points there were also things that I happen to stumble upon with, I'm sure, very much less research. But at one point, I wondered, how many carrots did Clive Owen actually eat during this movie? The answer is I couldn't find it on Google, and also who cares, because it led me down this path, which was that the co-producer said that Hertz was modeled after the BTK killer. And in a review on Rotten Tomatoes, the dynamic of Hertz and Smith was described as Hertz's Elmer Fudd to Owen's carrot-eating Bugs Bunny.
Mhm.
And I had never thought of that before. I don't know. It seems obvious now that I've read that, but I almost shit a brick when I saw that, and I was like, that is incredible.
I absolutely love that because, like, from the very get-go, this movie knows the villains know they're evil and they enjoy it. Like, they're like smiling. Like in that first shootout, Paul Giamatti's using one of his henchmen who's bleeding out. He's like, "You're ruining my shot," and he like shoots him in the chest to get him to be still. And you're just like, oh, okay. Later on, he's about to like torture Clive Owen, and like one of the henchmen's like smiling, like sneerily, and you're just like, these guys know who they are, And that's what I loved about this film is like the bad guys are super bad and the good guys are like super good, even though it's like Clive Owen's like defining moment was like, should I rescue this baby? Okay.
He had that moment a couple times in the movie.
Yeah.
The fact that this movie was scripted makes me kind of sad because I kind of thought it was just Clive Owen and Paul Giamatti riffing on set. Like there was just like loose action scenes designed, and then Giamatti was just being Giamatti. Like I don't even want to believe that he was acting. I want to believe that this is who Paul Giamatti is.
Yeah.
Well, I think I read something about how the director felt that Paul Giamatti needed a character to be villainous. He needed something to be not just the nice guy. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know any movies with Paul Giamatti in it besides this. I have not seen any others. And so I've always thought of him to be this just huge creep and really, really evil. So,
wow.
Success, I guess, to the director.
We've definitely covered some movies with some kind of, I don't know whether you want to call it cringy or like edgy for the sake of being edgy. I think a lot of that combines in this movie to what I would also just call lazy, where the quotes from Paul Giamatti, and Clive Owen isn't immune to it, but here are a couple of my favorite Paul Giamatti quotes who are just gross to be gross, evil to be evil. But here we go. You can put a silencer on a gun, talking about how his wife and a gun were different. That was terrible. He once told one of his henchmen to find every mammary on tap when he realized that the baby needed milk. During a stand down with Clive Owen, he said, but not wascally enough, which was really funny when I realized the Bugs Bunny relation.
He literally says that?
He said, yeah they're like,
I missed that.
You're wascally, but not wascally enough.
You really got to comb this thing over with a fine tooth comb to find all the ins and outs.
It's just what I do. I know what people do and I know what people think. I always have. Like, that's just such a lazy, just like, I'm smart. That's why I do things. That's dumb. Mm-hmm. This was probably my least favorite line in the movie. Violence is one of the most fun things to watch. What does that even mean?
Yeah, but let's be honest. The world really likes violence in movies and in video games.
There's gotta be a better way to say it, though.
See, but those bad lines lead into what is my favorite line, and it's not delivered by Paul Giamatti, but it's, my God, look at this. Someone left a baby. And then she immediately gets blown away by the gun. Like, I watched that scene at least 10 times because I was laughing so hard.
You need to deliver it like she does, though.
Oh, yeah. It was 3 separate ADRs.
My God, look at this. Someone left a baby.
Boom.
Yep. That was very accurate. It's actually funny. Mythbusters decided to figure out if they could actually shoot the merry-go-round using a gun. And they said it would work if you had a certain kind of gun. And I don't remember what it was, but Chris, you're our gun expert, aren't you? Do you know anything about this?
A resident gun expert? Hell yeah.
What caliber bullet would be enough to get a merry-go-round spinning?
What characteristic of a gun or bullet would you need to do?
He definitely wouldn't have been able to do that with the 9mm that he had.
All right.
Honestly, anything he would have shot at, it probably would have just shot right through the actual handles because they're not tempered steel. So
tempered steel. That's what I was looking for.
Probably a 380 would probably do it.
That's like a full circle. Plus some.
And then some.
More than
Chris, do they have that fingerprint technology that Paul Giamatti had?
Oh yeah.
Is that on guns for real?
Yeah, that can be implemented on guns.
Seriously?
Huh.
Seriously.
Was that sci-fi in 2007 or did they already have that?
When did that technology develop? Do you know?
I think it's been in talks and tested around since probably the early 2000s. So it would have been around at that time, but
cool.
It's definitely not technology enough to work.
Now, do those work are they actual fingerprints or are they like biometric? Like there are those hand scanners now where you can't cut off someone's hand and then use it to gain access to a door.
What?
So like he used a severed hand as the fingerprint. Is it actually fingerprint technology? Or was that just a fancy or like an easy way of describing it?
No, it would be actual fingerprints. It would be registered to your fingerprints yourself.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to like go to the range with you guys and then be like, here, try shooting this and hand it to you because you wouldn't be registered. What if you handed us your hand?
Yeah. You chopped it off.
If you held my hand, it would probably shoot for you.
If I'm shooting a gun, I'm going to need to hold your hand because I need that safety.
So I've really loved, again, just talking about how much this movie knows what it is. There aren't a lot of twists in this movie that make a lot of sense, but there are a few things that they turn the expectation on its head. And one of the very first ones for me was when he's taking the baby into the bathroom and he pulls down the changing room drawer. And instead of changing the baby, he disassembles his gun and cleans it. And I thought that was
trying
super
to dry
funny.
it out, right?
Yeah. Because he dropped it in the toilet.
Yeah. That very yellow toilet. Couldn't tell that was computer enhanced.
Yeah, speaking of all the computer stuff, there were some really atrocious looking fake babies in this movie too. Like they had this planned out, a pregnant woman that had twins, I think, ahead of time. They had planned it out that they wanted someone or a baby that looked somewhat newborn-ish, even though, obviously they didn't have an actual newborn.
Right.
But they had planned this ahead of time before they had even started shooting. They were going to try to have newborn babies, but then they also had some dummies, but then they also had like some ways of computer generating the face onto fake babies. And it just looked so bad, but I was 100% in.
Well, back to that ideal of Paul Giamatti just being evil for evil's sake, you have the whole scene with the robotic baby.
Oh, yeah.
So that whole thing.
You're talking about the one where he's like shooting out of a car and they run over the baby and Paul Giamatti laughs. And then,
yes.
He laughs and then he realizes it's a robot and then he just gets this very disappointed look on his face. And he's like, what kind of sick fuck would do this?
Yeah, that was so funny. What kind of sick fuck that doesn't drive over babies would try to trick me here?
But all you sick fucks totally laughed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did not laugh.
Movie magic.
I laughed.
I know it's not a real baby.
I actually wrote down, I was actually upset at that point because at one point in the movie, she has to give a guy a blowjob behind a dumpster to buy bullets. And now they somehow had the time and money to pay somebody to engineer a baby that looks like Oliver just to throw under a bunker or to throw under a bus.
True.
That's true.
Also, they bought a bulletproof vest for Oliver with that blowjob money, which guy got his hand slammed in the dumpster and didn't even get there.
Well, that's why you always collect the money before.
Yeah, I get I'm on Monica Bellucci's side.
That's John 101.
He didn't even get there. So what kind of value is that?
My question for Chris is, do you know how much a bulletproof vest costs?
Definitely more than she would have got for that blowjob.
But she did, so we know she did get that much.
It depends on how shitty the vest is or how good the blowjob was.
That guy was rich.
Exactly.
Or how desperate he was.
Yeah. Well, he was lurking outside of the pawn shop. The time it took for him to walk by the shop and then for her to get him behind the dumpster, it was like a whirlwind for how fast it was.
Yeah.
Right.
She's good. She's good at what she does. Brava.
And that was an adult vest too, right? That wasn't like a hello sharks. Do you need a bulletproof vest for your baby?
I mean, it definitely wasn't baby sized.
Well, I mean, it was turned side. Like the baby wasn't in it, like with its arms through the hole.
Okay.
No, he was swaddled appropriately.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an adult bulletproof vest. Actually, that wasn't even a bulletproof vest, because a bulletproof vest would go over you as opposed to strap on like a vest.
Yeah,
So
it was almost. It looked more like a life jacket almost, the way it kind of went over you.
Well, that's not going to stop bullets.
Nope, that would not.
Which makes more sense for the value that she got.
I hope they have a warranty on the vest.
What in the hell is that? Oh my God, that is twisted. That sick son of a bitch. Oh, that sick son of a bitch suckered us again!
All right, let's talk about Act 2, and that will be the final act for this movie because there really are only 2 acts. So at a motel, Donna and Smith bang, and then masked men attack them with Hammerson guns, which Smith recognizes as unavailable to the public. After hiding Donna and Oliver in a tank, he goes to the Hammerson factory, overhears Hertz talking about how they don't want stricter gun laws. Smith escapes being spotted, and then deduces that the politician with cancer is Senator Rutledge, a candidate for president against guns. When he meets with him, he learns Rutledge made a deal with Hammerson and kills him. Although Smith gets captured and tortured later by Hertz, miraculously, Smith saves the day, killing Hertz and then living happily ever after with Donna and Oliver.
That is literally the whole movie.
That is also exactly how I imagine M. Night Shyamalan pitches his stories. And then
a baby in a tank.
Yo, and then this happens.
You know, Wesley, you can write the plot summaries from now on.
No, I'm not. That was not a critique of the writing of the plot summary.
It was a critique of the reading of the plot summary.
No, it was neither. It was definitely just this movie, which I think I appreciated. Like, this movie was a popcorn flick. It was a dumb run and gun action adventure movie. And for some reason, the last half hour of this 84-minute movie, they tried to pull one over on us a couple times. And again, I think I appreciated it, but Ben, I think you had a little bit of
I don't understand, and I feel so goddamn stupid because this movie should not be hard to understand.
What do you not understand?
What the hell was the twist? Because
which one?
Hertz and Hammerson are on the same side as Rutledge?
Yes.
Then why are they trying to kill the baby?
No one knows.
That's Rutledge's bone marrow. They need to.
But if they're on Rutledge's side and he needs the baby, why would they kill the baby?
So my thought about it is that they bought him out because of this whole baby fiasco thing. And obviously Hertz is an evil guy for evil's sake, just because he's an evil guy. And so he still wants to kill Smith anyway, just because. But I think just based off of how I let this happen in my mind, I was like, yeah, of course this makes sense. You guys bought him out. It was because Paul Giamatti's character is like, you know what? Let's just go to the person, the politician, and instead of killing the baby, let's try to get him on our side.
So at what point does he stop trying to kill the baby?
So, okay.
That point?
Because he runs over the baby like 10 minutes before that.
I think I can answer.
Or Chris.
Well, I just want to say this about Emily. Letting this wash over me. What did you say? Letting this happen to me.
In my mind.
Yeah. Whatever you said to describe that is exactly how everyone should watch dumb movies like this. But Chris, you think you can explain it?
Yeah. The way I understand it is Hammerson tried taking out the nursery, and if he would have succeeded in killing all of the mothers and just wiping out the nursery without one of the moms getting away, it would have just been swept under the rug and nothing would have happened. But one of them got away. Smith encountered it, started all of the shooting. Everything went to hell. And then the senator needed to be paid off by Hammerson to be able to prevent it all going national. Because all of a sudden, if you have a senator that's, impregnating women so that he can get bone marrow, doesn't look good. So now Hammerson's got dirt so he can pay him off. That's why he said in the plane, let me die with some dignity, because he sold out just over the fact that if this gets out, I'm dead.
The only problem with that is that Hammerson was the one who sent people in to originally try to kill the other mothers. Mm-hmm. But when Smith and Donna show up, it is your most trusted person, or whatever that guy's title is. That guy's working for the senator. So the senator is the one that actually went in to clean up the remaining 2 mothers.
Because they know the story?
Well, no, he went in to clean up the nursery so that there was no bodies there, so that gets swept under the rug. Right. That's all that was. Okay. He was trying to get the baby from Smith so that they can harvest it for bone marrow.
Or just protect the DNA from being found anywhere, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I 100% think we are thinking about this too hard, but Ben, fair point. This is confusing as shit.
Well, no, I still think it makes sense. I think that Hertz was always playing both sides of the coin. And that's just because he's an evil person. So he's still trying to kill the baby because he'll win. He's also hired by the senator because he's hedging his bet that if he doesn't kill the baby, he's still got the senator on his side, because the senator needs this for his own life. And if the senator can partner with Hertz, then he betters his chances of survival. And Hertz is just saying, I'm going to win either way.
I also want to clarify your point, saying like it's an evil corporation propping up the senator. The senator isn't like the head honcho by any means. It's we don't get to see like the main bad guy of the evil corporation hiring Paul Giamatti.
No, that was Hammerson.
Yeah. The dog owner.
He's the top dog. For some reason, I thought there was somebody above him.
Top dog.
Gun advocacy.
It doesn't really subtract from the viewing of the movie. I'll tell you that.
It does not.
But when you think about it, it gets a little bit like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, nothing can subtract from the sex scene and the skydiving scene in this movie, which are both phenomenal.
And the booby trap scene.
Just to kind of add, since we're already in the downward mind spiral of the plot hole or the confusing twist, just to kind of add to the darkness of the movie a little bit, the origin story of Smith that Paul Giamatti's character brings up, that was actually real.
What do you mean real?
That was real. There was a case in 1986, I think. I looked it up because I knew it was real. But there was a case in 1984 where a guy actually went into a McDonald's with a bunch of guns and just started shooting the place up.
This one was a Burger King.
He didn't specify, actually.
He said Burger
I don't
King.
think.
You're saying the case he sold that guy the guns in real life as well?
Yeah, I thought that was the twist with Smith's backstory.
Yeah, no. In the movie, Smith's dad's little gun shop sold the guy the guns.
Right.
So he twisted it around saying, oh, you technically killed your wife and child.
Exactly.
I don't think anything like that happened in real life, but I'm just saying that incident of someone going into a fast food place and just lighting the place up, that was actually real, which really caught me off guard the first time I saw the movie, because I was like, that's a very real thing that happened. It's kind of sad that they're bringing that into this movie, because like 22 people died.
Yeah.
Yikes. I think you just blew Ben's mind, because he had to like move away from the mic and rub his face and just feel like, what the fuck is even happening?
When I texted you guys this morning, I need to rewatch this movie. I feel like I was missing plot. Like, we are now talking about the things that I did not catch the first time.
And this goes back to the point I made. I respect this movie for trying. They did not need to do any of this.
They might have tried a little too hard, it sounds like.
Right, but again, they had such phenomenal action sequences that were ridiculous beyond ridiculous levels,
right,
that made everything worth it. Like you were talking about the sex scene, Wesley, in one of our episodes that we will not name, but it is so silly how he is having sex with Donna and shooting all of these masked people coming and trying to kill them.
So, Matt, had you not seen this before?
It'd been a really long time. I'm pretty sure I had. But it's crazy that I mean, like I had to see it so long ago because I had forgotten the sex scene. I mean, I think we brought it up on one of ours where it was the Battle of Twits. And then I forgotten the skydiving scene, which was equally hilarious, and, present day me as like, a video professional, as well as like just knowing physics. Like I was like, why is it when he shoot him, he just flies by the camera now? Like his mass is still going down. It's just like, all right, I'm going to enjoy it. Let's do it.
So I tried to reason that one out because every time he shot somebody, they went from being like aerodynamically pointed. And when he shot them, they kind of flying squirreled up.
Yeah, they flying squirrel by the camera just to get that fun effect.
Yeah.
This movie really cared about physics.
Like I said, man, it went there. It tried.
So Clive Owen actually did most of his stunts and really wanted to. And so that entire skydiving scene...
What do you mean you didn't skydive in that? Like
no,
he's
literally
he was on wires. Those are stunts.
Oh, get the fuck out of it. That's not wires. They threw him in a wind tunnel with a green screen. That was it.
You don't think that's dangerous, Ben?
No, it's not. You can pay like $10 and do it at any like trampoline
sign
place.
A waiver? All right, Emily, please interrupt us.
9-hour days hooked up in this harness, this Cirque du Soleil harness, to do the shit like that. And he did all of the flips and everything. He did all of it. And he also was trained in all the firearms. Him and Paul Giamatti both were extensively trained in firearms. So I guess it didn't add to the realism of this movie, but it certainly made it more believable and acceptable.
So you're saying he trained and did all of the stunts himself. So does that mean he also made Monica Bellucci orgasm?
Okay, whatever, Wesley.
How do you not stop orgasming the second people around you are shooting you? Like she kept making sex noises.
How do you stay hard?
Also, she was not orgasming. She was faking.
For Oliver's sake.
How would you know that she was having an orgasm anyway, Wesley?
Because she's not that good an actor.
Wow.
Wesley, you've never experienced one of those.
She's literally just making noises. You don't know if that's like orgasm or just I'm scared for my life.
Let's get real for a second. Then how do you fake? How do you show an orgasm in any movie ever? Not X-rated.
You can't.
You don't. Well, no, you can. You just got to classify it as an art house flick.
Right. It's only that one Woody Allen film, and that's the only woman that's ever faked an orgasm in a movie.
What Woody Allen movie?
Manhattan.
That one with his daughter.
The one where he's in the
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm so confused. But you said this is this whatever movie you're talking about is the only movie a woman has faked an orgasm.
That was a joke. That's like a famous scene. They're in the diner and the girl's faking the orgasm.
That's when Harry Met Sally, and that's not Woody Allen.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's not Woody Allen.
The joke is funnier now that I know what you were trying to get to, though.
I do wish more movies approached realism in the way that this one did. Like that skydiving scene reminded me a lot of Speed Racer.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the way that like the colors, like it didn't even attempt to pretend to be that this is happening in a real world. Like it was like now we're fully like Looney Tunes cartoon scenario.
Yeah, parachuting out of Air Force One. Yeah, I think so.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was like the clouds were like moving by super fast, like it's a cartoon.
Right. You could see the lines of the animation too, which was definitely added to the cartoon nature of everything.
There aren't a ton of movies where skydiving mass murder happens, but the fact that he lands on the ground and is then walking through a pile of body parts and dead people, I thought was a really, really nice touch to be like, that was ridiculous, but here's the grounded reality of what would happen if that were real. The ground would be littered with the dead.
Yeah, roughly.
I also want to touch base. You said they trained. Like, what does that look like when they're like doing akimbo and like going like this and this? You know, like it's just so funny to picture him at the training range and he's just like flying around with like real guns and they're like, no, just downrange, fire the fucking gun. Please be safe. Please be safe. Please be safe. You know, like, so funny.
Did anyone have any favorite moments from the second half?
Oh,
or the movie thus far that we haven't talked about?
Like everything. Seriously, I want to talk also about the booby traps. I can't remember if this is the first or second act. Who cares? I loved it. How it was set up that he's like running around and pulling these strings to kill all these henchmen.
Yeah.
Sure.
The machine gun that he
so many
swings
action
side to side.
scenes.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many action scenes that were just ridiculous and blown out of proportion. And you just went with it and accepted it. And he's just like running around, escaping these people, and then like pull a string and it's like, haha, I got you. And
I did like too that somehow that first action scene is the least ludicrous of all of them.
Yeah,
like the
it
movie
builds.
kept ramping up, and then you get to the last scene in the diner where he like spots the things that he hates most about each of them and then shoots them with the carrot gun.
Yes.
And not only does he do that, he shoots some guy's arm on the ground to reposition his gun to shoot somebody else's foot.
Yep. One of the guys hides. He shoots the guy to the ground, shoots his arm out, and then shoots his forearm to get him to pull the trigger.
Best use of a carrot in any movie.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, suck it, Olaf.
Ha.
I'll go on a rampage and say that the best use of a vegetable in any movie.
I don't know about that.
I'd need some time to think about it.
I mean, other than Little Shop of Horrors, of course.
Well, I mean, that's a plant. That's not really a vegetable. But the use of the cucumber in This Is Spinal Tap when he's trying to walk through with the cucumber wrapped in tinfoil in his pants. I love that scene. The use of the potatoes in Close Encounters actually like serves a story purpose when he's carving the mountain in mashed potatoes and he's like, this means something.
This serves a purpose. Carrots help with his eyesight. That's why he's so good at shooting
Where do all
things.
these carrots come from?
He grew them.
I understand. Stop. I do not mean the origin of the carrots. I mean, where does he keep them on his body that
does he
no
have
matter
like
what, he's pulling
a bandolier of carrots?
Where do you keep your ammo, Ben? Come on.
So he's got a carrot vest.
A bandolier of carrots.
Bandolier.
Speaking of which, did anybody else happen to keep count of how many carrots Clive Owen uses in this movie?
No, but you said it didn't matter.
Yeah.
No, my question was how many did he eat while shooting? I absolutely care about how many carrots did he use in the movie.
Did you?
How many
did
is
you
it?
count?
Did you mean also shooting the film or shooting sequences?
The character. Like how many different carrots did this character use? I started to count at about 5. So take this with a grain of salt. I could be off by a couple, but I got up to 12, which I thought was, it's not that ridiculous, but there are about 12 carrots in this movie that he either eats, throws as a decoy, or uses to shoot a gun or kill somebody either through their mouth or eyeball.
Yes. And I would like to point out that there is one scene where he just takes a carrot from a vendor at some market. So, like, they give other ways of him collecting his carrot.
Yeah. When they go to his house, he's got a carrot garden. So, and then, like,
right.
It's not ridiculous, but I also had the same thought as Ben, is like,
he had a giant trench coat. Whatever.
I really like the idea of carrot bandolier.
My favorite part had to be the torture sequence where we see Clive Owen at his most vulnerable, and then he's got to fire the gun with broken fingers, and he shows down with Paul Giamatti and finally kills him by holding the bullets in front of the fire. Totally unrealistic, I'm assuming.
I actually wrote that one down. Would holding bullets to a fire actually make them shoot? Chris?
No.
Oh,
over
No,
time,
they would
perhaps?
not.
Like maybe over like 3 minutes?
Well, no, they'd eventually go off, or things would eventually... The cartridge itself would explode first before the bullet would launch.
Oh, wow. So in real life, his fingers would all blow off?
Yeah, he would have just blown his hand off, because to make a bullet go, it needs to be in a barrel.
Mm.
If you just cook off a bullet just on its own...
Because of the propulsive nature of the gun.
Yeah. So
I know
if
you
just
know what you
cook
mean,
off a
Ben, but that
round-
sounded like you were just grasping at straws.
No, I'm totally understanding
Because
now.
of propulsion.
Science.
Yes, science, the small explosion that launches the bullet through
It would have been
gas.
so funny to see Paul Giamatti's character being like, it doesn't work like that, and his hand explodes.
As he's dying, that's his last words. It doesn't work like that. There's so much with this movie that we haven't even talked about, but I think we need to jump into Wesley's observations.
These are just a few of our incredible thoughts.
So there was no oil on his back after that first slide, and that really bothered me. Just took me right out of it.
It was all on the floor. That was how he slid so far.
Yeah, and oil doesn't stick to leather, I'm assuming you're going to say next. Bold stance on ponytails. What's the minorest detail that you would kill someone because of? And I don't want you to answer. I just want you to keep that in your inside thoughts. Is that really what tit for tat means? I looked it up. I don't think it is. But I also read that Michael Davis has a notebook full of ideas, and this was one that he pushed into the script because it was something that his dad had told him as a kid. And that's just the genuine... it was a gripe that turned into an interesting find.
I'd like to pretend that all of his ideas are written in limerick form, too.
Well, so in this article that I read, he just has a notebook full of all these weird things from his life, like things that have struck him in his life. So if he ever feels like he doesn't know what to do, he feels like he's always got something in his back pocket where he can reach to. And then if they make it into a movie, he feels like that is uniquely me because this is something that I thought was cool at one point.
Airplane fluid? What's the deal with that?
All right. Fuck you fucking fuckers. I just wanted to say it again.
Yes.
This happens multiple times, so it happened to slip into my notes again. Clive Owen is a very slidey boy. I really missed an opportunity to include a carrot as a sex toy in our Heartbreak Kid episode.
Absolutely.
How do you guys think the kid's mom that was getting spanked ends up growing up after knowing that adults can just spank his mom in public?
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, please.
She was so excited. The actress was so excited to get spanked by Clive Owen.
Oh, I would
exactly.
be too.
Yep.
But that kid's going to grow up terrible. We all know that.
The cutaway of Clive Owen spanking the mom, a commentary on childcare, I guess, and spanking your child in public. That was nuts.
He had a bunch of commentaries, like he had issues with rich people owning the roadways. Like this seems just like gripes that Michael Davis has that he wants people to hear about.
He just wanted to mask it so we could finally talk about the issues.
I got a dad joke. Dad joke. When he had the bullets between his fingers. Now that's a handgun.
Oh my God.
Hey!
You did it. You somehow figured out a dad joke for this movie that is all puns and dad jokes.
I did. It was really hard. It took to the last couple minutes of the movie for me to find one.
Wow. I'm picturing Paul Giamatti saying that now. Right before he dies.
Well, I have a microphone and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to say!
I want to rave about how much I love this movie, but specifically I want to talk about how more movies should be like this. And when I mean like this, I mean they need to have fun and be ridiculous sometimes. You know, just embrace this lunacy, embrace the ridiculous nature of action movies, and not take itself so seriously. Like, obviously, I love me some action films. Like, The Raid has so many really great action moments, and it is really serious. But then you have movies like Kung Fu Hustle and Top Secret, and I would just argue a lot of John Woo films, which I've been getting into lately, and Hard Target. You know, I understand not all movies should be like this because it can get repetitive, but I think that this kind of movie brings a great risk to different kinds of film and can be really fun and exciting. And I was actually watching, some of you know how much I love me some Patrick Willems on YouTube. He had a newer video out about the Gonzo movies and just like these fun, bizarre, weird things happening and just taking these big risks. You know, talking about Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets, even though it's not like a good movie, it's still taking like these big risks and just being really fun. And I think that a lot of movies could learn from that, from Shoot 'em Up. Have fun and don't take yourself so seriously. Do things that are creative and silly and just be more like this movie. The end.
Yes. And please provide more content for the Mythbusters so that I can have something to teach in my classroom.
Chris, what was your official review? Because we all loved it. What was your official review?
My official review would probably be a full 17-round mag out of a 9mm.
Now, awesome. How many bullets are in a full?
17.
Score.
That's what a round is. A 17.
Perfect.
17 rounds out of 17. One mag out of mag.
Yep.
All right. So before we intro into Twits here, I believe that our two competitors today have a certain edible part of the food pyramid that they are going to provide for each other.
That's absolutely right.
Matt, why don't you go first?
Ben, your vegetable will be a potato.
Okay.
Potato.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
I'm going to give Matt a softball here.
A potato?
Butternut squash.
I got to look at a picture real quick.
Are you serious?
Now it's time to shoot Battle of the Twit for Twats. So I will pose 3 rounds, like bullets. Rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys get it. Of questions for our less than gunslingers, and let them try to convince me who has the best eyesight this week. The winner of each round will get 1 carrot, and second place will get a newspaper diaper full of poop in their face. I will be more easily persuaded by the creative and evasive answers. At the end, when the winner is crowned, the loser will be asking themselves, my God, do we really suck? Or is this guy really just this good? And then we'll update the leaderboards. So,
Quote
Twit for
from
Twats.
the movie.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. So everyone's favorite orange inanimate character from this film, the carrot, was utilized time and time again by that wascally Mr. Smith. Your opponent has given you a vegetable to build an action sequence around. I would love it if you also provide a tag that you will use after this sequence concludes. So Matt, Ben gave you the butternut squash. Ba-dum-bum. And what is your answer?
Trying to really utilize the vegetable here. So here we go. Interior restaurant day. Our hero sends his food back to the kitchen for being undercooked. The waiter comes back, and then over a simple slight or insult that our hero just can't let go, they start fist fighting in the style of a Jackie Chan film with flying fists and blocks, and they start jumping on other guest tables. Our hero is able to kick the butternut squash disc at our waiter, but the fight eventually makes its way into the kitchen where it becomes really violent. The chefs all escalate the fight by attacking with knives, and our hero is stabbed, but he's able to kill 2 of them with their own knives before the head chef comes in like some kind of boss. He's got 2 guns and he's shooting. Our hero kills the waiter finally by snapping his neck, and after a long drawn-out battle, he grabs a now burnt pan of butternut squash and oil, and he throws it and burns and kills the head chef with it. As he looks over the kitchen in disarray with dead bodies everywhere, he says, I sent it back because it's burnt.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Wait, I thought he sent it back because it was undercooked.
I mean,
hold on. Yep, that is what it is written down.
Emily, I'm gonna go ahead and say that earlier in the episode, you said movies need to have more fun. And that's what my movie's doing. It's having fun, okay? Yeah, you're right, though. I did say that.
He's right, though. You did say that, Emily.
No, you're absolutely right. I did say that.
All right, Ben. Matt gave you a potato.
Yes.
How will let's hear this action scene.
Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a babysitting grandpa who must protect his grandkids from a home invasion. Armed with only items that he has immediately at his disposal, he attempts to ward off an onslaught of ninjas early in the movie who attempt to break in. He grabs the only weapons he has, the dinner that he was making for the children. He slaps the first ninja in the face with a T-bone steak, knocking him unconscious, as the oldest grandkid shouts, well done.
So terrible.
He repeatedly throws a handful of Brussels sprouts at the second ninja until he falls backward, breaking his neck against the countertop. The last ninja's all that's left to overcome as the children cower under the kitchen table. Arnold reaches into the oven, grabbing a baked potato, biting away the tin foil, and heaving it across the room like a grenade where it explodes in the face of the ninja, who flees to report back to his boss what just happened. The middle child under the table, who is 8, asks, was that a tuber? To which Grandpa replies, it was a tuber. This, of course, is a callback to the homework that Arnold was helping her with earlier in the movie.
What?
Tuber?
Okay.
What's a tuber?
I have a couple questions.
I got a couple.
That's
also.
the first one.
I think Chris needs to ask his questions first.
A potato's a tuber.
What's a tuber?
Oh.
It's a type of vegetable.
I feel like you're lying.
No, that's a real thing. That's a real
I'm being
thing.
serious, yeah. A potato's a tuber. That's the type of vegetable it is.
You learn something new every day. So with the T-bone steak,
Yeah.
slapping a guy with that and killing him, wouldn't it be better?
Knocked him unconscious,
No,
right?
he's unconscious. He's not dead.
He's unconscious.
I did not say dead.
Okay. All right. So then, never mind. Because I was going to say, wouldn't it be better to stab him with the T-bone You know,
Well,
if you're trying to kill them.
But there's meat on the bone, like, and it's well done, so that meat's not going to come off easily.
If you cook it right, it will.
You're going to make the poor guy bite off the tinfoil off the potato?
Oh, he's badass, yeah.
Have you ever bit tinfoil? That hurts.
He doesn't have any fillings, though, so he doesn't care.
Why does the potato explode?
Because it's hot. Have you ever thrown a hot potato?
Yeah, but you've now taken it out of the oven.
It's still hot. It's immediately out of the oven. He bit back the tinfoil.
Get cooler. The moment it's out of the oven, it's going to start to be less
but
warmer.
a really well done baked potato is like really soft. Like you heave that thing and
why does releasing the pressure from the grenade?
They were trying to clean the house earlier, so there's Clorox on the ground. The tinfoil hits the Clorox, reacts, and explodes.
No, that's too silly.
Ben, what do you think of me where you say something like, I'm glad you went first because mine is going to blow you out of the water? Exploding tuber.
Well, I had hoped one of you knew what a fucking tuber was other than Emily.
I know now.
The well done quote was good for me, but the tuber didn't land, unfortunately.
Because you didn't know what it was.
Is that my fault?
I can't. Yeah, it is. I can't write around your ignorance.
Oh, okay.
Right,
we're going to go on
Noted.
To
Question 2.
The vodka is getting to you.
It really is. You're very combative right now.
After losing multiple fights with Mr. Smith, Hertz continues to hire more and more guns for hire to help kill that daggum baby. Not all of them work directly for Hertz, and some of them we did not see definitively killed. So I would like you to turn in a 2-week notice letter from a henchman who managed to survive. So, Ben, let's hear this vodka-fueled quitting letter.
Dear Federated Henchman Temp Services, it is with deepest regard that I must inform you of my intention to seek other employment. This is my 2 weeks' notice. I realize what a loss I will be to this organization since I am the senior most tenured henchman after what recently went down. But after 3 days in this career, I've seen too much to feel that this is what is best for me. Did you know the guy shot off Kyle's ponytail? Why would he do that? I've never seen such wanton disregard for other people's feelings. Kyle was the guy that trained me and showed me the ropes. I didn't realize it would be so hard losing a mentor, a friend, and a godfather to my unborn child. The things I have seen have rattled my confidence in the basic laws of physics, but also increased my confidence in the power of carrots. Thus, I will use my remaining days on this earth to farm carrots in the hopes that someday I can avenge Kyle. I plan to use my accrued sick leave during this 2 weeks also, so please make note that next Monday I will be absent from 10:30 to 10:40 p.m. I hope that this will not put the company in too difficult of a staffing situation. Sincerely, Josh. Also, in a sad turn, Josh passed away prior to his 2 weeks being completed. He choked on a baby carrot.
Plot twist to that whole thing, Kyle survived.
There's no way Kyle survived.
He only had his ponytail shot off. He would have lived through that.
What are you referencing? Am I completely oblivious?
I'm referencing Shoot 'em Up. Did you not watch the movie?
Oh, okay. I was like thinking, like, when you said Dear Federation,
that's in regards to when Paul Giamatti's on the phone literally calling another company to try to get more henchmen by his side. I just pretended like there's a temp service that exists for henchmen.
Don't get the 10:30 to 10:40 p.m.
Yeah.
He'd only been working there for 3 days, so the sick leave he's accrued thus far is only 10 minutes.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Ben.
Jesus Christ, I gotta explain all my goddamn jokes today.
Damn, dude.
Yes.
What a fucking funny episode.
I guarantee you mine will be way more simple than that.
I have no doubt, Matt. Let's hear your letter.
Hey, you guys. Please accept this email as notification that I'm leaving my position as Dungeon Henchman as of September 15th. I have enjoyed my time with Francis, Jake, and Mama, and I am thankful for the opportunity of working with my team and co-workers. And if I could be of any assistance during this transition, please let me know. I will be pursuing my new passion of becoming a concert pianist. And I have been granted a scholarship and room and board at Juilliard. Thank you for everything. Sincerely, Sloth. P.S. Attached is a link in which you can hear Jason Statham, who I've paid on Cameo, to narrate this letter. as I know you don't take me seriously with my real voice.
Oh my God.
Wait, okay. So this is Sloth from Goonies.
Yes.
And you are turning in a voice recorded 2-week notice from Jason Statham.
It's an email with a link.
Voiced by Jason Statham.
Don't try to make me look stupid, Wesley. It's an email with a link.
It wasn't pick any henchman. It was pick a henchman from this movie. Was Sloth in this movie?
No, then I lose. That's me misunderstanding the question.
Matt, just say
Sloth
yes.
was in the movie.
We
just
didn't
in the
see that.
background.
Yes, just say yes.
Sloth,
Just say yes.
Sloth was one of the random 50.
Yeah, he was on the stairwell.
As the question is written, my answer stands.
Yeah, I was
Doesn't
going to
say from this movie, but
who managed to survive implies this movie.
I thought it was any henchman that survives in any film, like as in like your generic Bond villain henchman who doesn't die, you know?
I'm going to tell you guys this. I looked at both of the who this was to beforehand to make sure that I agreed with it, and it's not going to change my answer. On to the last one. So I think we can all agree. We all love this movie. It was just a fun, dumb ride. And I would really like to see what else can be done with this world. So I want you to pitch a reboot, prequel, or sequel for Shoot 'em Up. And yes, in homage to my including this sex scene in a previous episode's answer, I want you to include a romantic, possibly a sex scene in your movie. And Matt, we're starting with you again.
Okay, so I chose to do a sequel. My movie would be called Baby's Day Out 2. This time, the baby is out for blood. That's the tagline. We can all agree that this movie's title could have alternately been called Baby's Day Out, correct? So this would be a sequel set exactly 3 years later, a discovery of a rock and roll metal-loving baby, only now he's old enough to walk, talk, and most importantly, hold a gun. So my movie, the evil corporation has managed to also blackmail Senator Rutledge's identical twin, who is a rising politician, who is also now a senator. So the new Senator Rutledge will need the same baby Oliver for his bone marrow for harvesting. Now, the problem is the baby's in the terrible threes. And, parents know that's bad. Yeah, and Smith and Donna are now juggling a different kind of challenge. It's relationships in parenthood. So Act 1 is all about introducing the stakes. The evil corp, new Senator Rutledge, they start the baby harvesting. They need the bone marrow for the short term. So they decide to go after the old baby. Meanwhile, Smith and Donna are now in a suburban home. They fight passionately while the baby is in the other room watching TV and learning R-rated words. And they also make love literally every single time they reconcile from a fight in this movie, which is going to be a recurring trope that happens 5 or 6 times. So Act 2, the baby wanders off and he murks a bunch of people. And did I mention the first person he kills is with a baby carrot? Yeah, like he murks like 10 dudes in a warehouse, gets away, and he says, looks like somebody didn't baby-proof their evil warehouse. Okay, and then meanwhile, Smith and Donna, they clash with the evil corp as they track down the baby. Act 3, the baby murks more people. The parents catch up with the baby. The end. 2 suckingly good thumbs up. I skipped a bunch of Act 2 because I got the wrap up.
Yeah, because this thing is like 4 pages long.
Just well thought out, baby.
It's trying to cram it in.
You had a lot of good stuff in there, but too much of a good thing.
If this is a sequel, is Donna still going to be working at the malt shop as a front for her prostitution?
No, I mean, that's part of the arc that we learn, like Clive Owen's more of a dad and Donna's more of a mom. So they're kind of like trying to play it straight. And then the baby provides all the action sequences. Any action sequences with Donna and Clive Owen or Smith,
are sex scenes.
They're either sex scenes, fighting scenes, or minor fight scenes that are secondary to the baby. The baby has all the sliding on oil through the warehouse and shooting and
baby oil.
See, when you said minor fight scenes, I thought you were referring to the baby's fight scenes.
No, the baby is the star.
We have given this entirely too much time because I want to hear Ben's answer.
This will be a spiritual sequel to Shoot 'em Up, will exist in the same universe, and in fact, will be the second movie in the Looney Tunes live-action franchise. Hitman Pepe has always fancied himself as a ladies' man, akin to James Bond. While on a mission in France to kill a diplomat, he comes across a woman who is also attempting to kill the same diplomat, named Penelope. Pepe attempts repeatedly to woo Penelope, but she finds him to be completely repulsive. However, she continues to be around Pepe as he hunts down the diplomat all throughout Europe, in the hopes that they can take him out together and each get paid. Pepe's repeated attempts at charm eventually wear down Penelope into believing that she has feelings for him. At this point, Pepe realizes that Penelope is actually working for the CIA and was sent to prevent Pepe from killing the diplomat. This causes Pepe to lose romantic interest in her as the two come to a guns-drawn standoff that takes place at the Coliseum. The entire movie will be rife with sexual tension, and the climactic sex scene just prior to Pepe's realization that Penelope is in the CIA will take place in a gondola along the Venetian canals as the diplomat's henchmen attempt to kill our two leads. As the henchmen fire round after round into the gondola, it begins to sink, and Pepe and Penelope both dive underwater. While underwater, they realize the feelings they have for each other. They strip naked and begin to have sex under the water as bullet after bullet are fired into the water behind them. They eventually fuck their way to a water duct that causes them to water slide all the way to the ocean. Still fucking, mind you, where both are dumped onto the shore having just climaxed. My movie's titled Pepe Le Pew Pew.
Okay, well, they would both just die from jumping into the river.
No.
Yes.
No.
They're trained assassins and CIA agents. They can hold their breath for like 3 minutes at least.
It's not about holding your breath. It's the fact that that river is completely fucking poisonous and
so then
polluted.
They die 20 years later of cancer. Who fucking gives a shit? My movie stays the same.
Wow, Ben. Take it easy.
So you said this is a Looney Tunes live action franchise thing, second movie of it.
Yeah.
So is Pepe a skunk?
No, Pepe's a man in this one. It's because it's live action. He's played by Sacha Baron Cohen.
Wow.
I forgot to add that. I'm sorry. That was in my mind already. Yes. Sacha Baron Cohen as Pepe Le Pew.
Wow.
And then Penelope's going to be Isla Fisher just to make it like have that because they're married in real life. So, nice little crossover there.
So then they can actually fuck in the movie.
Yes, absolutely. Full pen in this movie.
No
full
faking.
penetration Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
All right. So question 1, your opponent gave you a vegetable to use in a fight sequence. Matt then gave you a butternut squash. Unfortunately, I don't think you really used the vegetable as part of the action very much. It was more just part of the punchline, which also the punchline ended up being like against how you set up your entire story plot.
But that wasn't really the reason why.
Okay. No, good. It just, you kind of shot yourself in the foot, which, it just
happens a lot.
You also didn't use anything with butts or nuts or squashing anything.
Yeah.
Like I literally threw you a softball.
I disagree.
Shush.
Sorry.
It's okay. That was funny, though. I didn't think of that.
Oh, I
That's
immediately.
the first thing I thought. I was
squash.
like, butter. Did you deconstruct the word? I was like, butternut squash. Fuck it. Because I think I was handicapped by the idea of like, I'm going to beat Ben by taking whatever vegetable he gives me and putting it up my character's butt. And then it was too big. And then I was like, how do I pivot from this? And then I was in shambles. What
vegetable were you hoping for that was going to be skinny enough other than a carrot?
Cucumber, potato, I don't know.
You gave him a potato.
Right. I threw Ben a softball.
A butt softball. All right. Ben, Emily mentioned if you had referenced your grenade as a hot potato, I think that would have been
like the game.
Yeah, absolutely sealed it for me because that was one of my biggest problems, obviously, which is what I had asked you about the potato actually being exploding. But you did utilize your vegetable in the fight, and you also utilized other foods, which wasn't necessarily the requirement, but it did feel more in line with what this movie was, and it did make the question more enjoyable as a whole, where Matt just kind of used the fact that it was a vegetable as a restaurant as his scene. So this one is going to Ben. Question 2 was the 2-week notice letter given to a henchman that survived. Now, it wasn't outright written that this was about this movie, but I don't think that necessarily plays into the decision, so I'm going to allow it. Referencing to the elements of this movie, Ben, we're spot on, which made it more enjoyable just because, that's the world we're living in right now is this movie, so it made it more tangible. As well as the motivation for leaving the company and having a future plan, I thought were very funny. The power of carrots. And the, I guess, postmortem subscript of the letter made me laugh quite a bit. Matt, I really liked how polite your quitting letter was. The Goonie references were very funny. The naming Francis, Jake, and Mama as his companions. But the Jason Statham reading a 2-week notice letter out loud did not land for me, and I don't know how it added to the story.
I don't think it landed for anybody.
Did it land for you though, Matt?
No. In comedy you try stuff just thinking maybe.
I respect you.
Find
I
out,
respect
no.
you.
That's just the way it works. So I thought the most clever part of my entire letter is "Hey, you guys" is the opener,
Yeah.
and then revealing
and
at
you
the
didn't
end.
even say it like sloth.
Well, I know.
Yeah, I didn't
that was
even
the
get
creative
that.
choice that I fucked myself.
Yeah, Jason Statham doing a sloth impression. I would have enjoyed that.
How does that even? Hey, you guys! I don't know.
All right, on to question 3 for the, we'll just call it sequel, since that's what you guys both called. So the sequel to Shoot 'Em Up. Matt, your core idea was great. From the beginning, I was super into it, especially the title. Baby's Day Out 2, this time the baby's out for blood. On fucking board. That's the equivalent of how quickly I was on board with Shoot 'Em Up. I was like, okay, I get it. Baby's out 2, baby's out for blood. Don't tell me anymore. You had some really good details, like the baby's first kill is with a baby carrot. That is, chef's kiss. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. But I think you kind of got lost in the weeds where you had really good ideas, but you kind of buried them with too much. Again, your core idea was so good, but it really just kind of got buried.
Oh, that's funny because I was going to say, put down the shovel, Matt.
Ben, the live action Looney Tunes, which I know you BS'd your final part of the responses there with Isla and Sasha. That was planned.
I swear to God, I didn't.
Well,
because I was trying to think of who could pull off a Frenchman type character that's really smarmy and thinks he's James Bond, and Sacha Baron Cohen is that guy.
Yeah, but at no point did you make me think that you were doing it as them. So whether that was part of it or not, it didn't detract. But I definitely during the listening to your answer was picturing skunks the whole time. So when you said that it was Sasha and Isla, I was very taken aback. But I still think those are very good choices for that role if that's the way that it's going. The biggest thing for me was the sex scenes. And Ben, you absolutely nailed it with them underwater in a hail of bullets. The scene occurring during an action fight scene and also playing out way too long, I thought was perfect. Where Matt, your sex scenes were kind of just sex scenes because as a result of fighting,
you'll enjoy it once you see it. It's
So
because they
you're
keep going back to it. Could you imagine resolving every fight by just fucking wherever you were? Come on, that's great. They decide on a certain diaper and they're like, "I love you, babe," and then they just start making out, and then it's just a cut to hardcore sex scene at the Target.
Oh, you didn't say hardcore.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't. That's my fault.
Anyway, that one's going to Ben as well. Well thought. Some very, very good answers in there.
I don't know. They were good pieces of it, but I don't know if they were
fair.
very good answers this week.
Yeah, there were a lot of less rounded out and also too rounded out answers.
It's like this movie.
That's fair.
We enjoyed ourselves.
Just to jump back real quick, Matt, one of my favorite rebuttals when we caught you in he sent it back because it was undercooked, and then your use of the vegetables that was overcooked, and then you challenged Emily with, but you said to make fun movies. I did like that a lot. So
we should have
Anyway.
a battle where we don't have to prep anything.
Okay.
So I have a chance.
An improv challenge.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting idea because next week, actually, we are watching the movie Number 23, and we have no guests. So we are going to be just the core four of us, me, Wascally, Wesley, me, Wes, Emily, and Matt. And we are going to do a fun twist on Battle of the Twits next week. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Perfect. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sorry you didn't get to witness my first win ever.
We all are, Matt. We all are.
No, but seriously, thank you for being on the show. And I was going to ask you, did you have anything you wanted to plug before saying goodbye?
Any good shows or anything that you've been watching?
I've been watching The Boys and Lovecraft Country. If you can watch either of those, definitely watch them. Other than that, I ain't got nothing else to plug.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate the unsolicited attendance.
We loved all of your gun knowledge.
Yeah, our resident gun expert. If you guys are still listening, thank you so much. Please subscribe to the show, rate it wherever you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. I don't know if you can rate it on Spotify, but share it with your friends, most importantly, and then share it on social media. We will retweet you, and we appreciate all of your support. All of that stuff helps us grow so much. So one final, thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.